The cause of death was listed as accidental suffocation. The medical examiner disagreed, noting that the presence of distinct ligature marks around the deceased's neck indicated a different scenario had transpired. Upon closer examination, it became evident that the marks were consistent with those caused by manual strangulation rather than self-inflicted constriction or an external incident. These observations led to a reevaluation of the initial cause of death and highlighted the necessity for meticulous forensic analysis in cases where ligature marks are present. The medical examiner meticulously documented the pattern, depth, and distribution of these marks, which were crucial in determining the mechanism of asphyxia. This case underscores the importance of distinguishing between various forms of neck injuries and their implications on cause and manner of death classification. Chapter: Case Background. The incident under review occurred on March 14th at a private residence in downtown Seattle. The discovery of the deceased was reported by a roommate who arrived home to find the individual unresponsive on the bedroom floor. Initial observations indicated that the body lay supine, with visible neck markings suggesting potential ligature involvement. The presence of these marks led local law enforcement to secure the scene and initiate an investigation into possible homicide. Paramedics were called but pronounced the deceased at the scene without attempting resuscitation due to the apparent nature of death. Upon arrival, emergency personnel noted significant bruising around the neck consistent with manual strangulation. Subsequently, forensic specialists were notified to begin a thorough examination of both the body and the surrounding environment for additional evidence corroborating the cause of death. Initial assumptions centered on accidental asphyxia or suicide. However, given the severity and distinctiveness of the ligature marks, further investigation was imperative to rule out criminal activity. Chapter: Initial findings upon arrival at the residence. First responders noted a body lying supine on the bedroom floor, approximately 1 hour post-discovery by family members. The deceased was a male adult, exhibiting signs of rigor mortis in early stages and an overall livor mortis indicative of a horizontal position for several hours prior to discovery. Initial observations revealed no visible trauma except for slight erythema around the neck area, suggesting possible ligature involvement. A cursory examination by medical personnel indicated a lack of external defensive wounds or signs of struggle, which is atypical in cases of violent death without premeditation. The initial manner of death was provisionally classified as undetermined pending further forensic evaluation due to the presence of minor skin discoloration and absence of significant trauma elsewhere on the body. The scene's relative tidiness and lack of forced entry raised suspicion of a possible non-accidental cause, prompting immediate collection of evidence such as fibers from around the neck area. These findings necessitated referral to the medical examiner's office for detailed autopsy and toxicology analysis to establish definitive cause of death. Chapter: Forensic Investigation at the Examination Site. Forensic personnel meticulously documented and collected all relevant physical evidence associated with the asphyxia case involving ligature marks indicative of strangulation. Notable items included a nylon cord found near the deceased's neck region, displaying compression patterns consistent with application force from manual manipulation. Impressions on both hands suggested defensive wounds, corroborating the struggle hypothesis. No alternative foreign objects potentially used in restraint were identified at the scene or on the body, ruling out secondary ligature sources. Chain of custody protocols were strictly adhered to throughout evidence handling and transfer processes, ensuring integrity and reliability of collected items for subsequent laboratory analysis. Upon examination of the deceased, multiple ligature marks consistent with strangulation were noted on the neck. Swab samples and tissue biopsies from these areas were collected for laboratory analysis. Forensic toxicology panels included screens for volatile substances that may have contributed to asphyxia but found no relevant concentrations. Histological evaluation revealed hemorrhagic changes in subcutaneous tissues indicative of vascular compromise. Microscopic examination confirmed the presence of petechial hemorrhages and ecchymoses within the conjunctival membranes, consistent with ligature-induced strangulation. Additionally, measurements indicated significant constriction of the neck, with marks approximately 1.5 centimeters wide, corresponding to a medium-sized ligature material. These findings corroborate the mechanical asphyxia hypothesis based on observed physical evidence and laboratory confirmations. The examination of ligature marks on the deceased's neck revealed characteristic patterns consistent with manual strangulation. Analysis indicated a definitive postmortem interval of approximately 12 to 24 hours, based on rigor mortis and lividity distribution. This time frame was corroborated by observed insect activity and decomposition stage, aligning closely with surveillance footage showing the last known location of the individual prior to discovery. The sequence of events began with the application of pressure to the neck, evidenced by the presence of petechial hemorrhages and laryngeal edema. The ligature marks were consistent with a cord-like object that left clear impressions on the skin. This timeline was further supported by blood spatter patterns within the vicinity, indicating a struggle occurred prior to death. This reconstruction confirmed the cause of death as asphyxia due to manual strangulation and contradicted earlier theories suggesting lethal injection or poisoning. The forensic evidence collectively provided a comprehensive understanding of the events leading up to the deceased's demise. The examination of the deceased revealed distinct ligature marks consistent with manual strangulation, characterized by petechiae distribution and bilateral ecchymoses at the neck site. Forensic findings indicated a patterned constriction force applied over time, which is congruent with evidence suggesting an altercation preceding death. Petechial hemorrhages within the eyes and conjunctival blood vessels further supported asphyxiation due to compression of carotid arteries and jugular veins, while ligature marks provided clear physical evidence of manual strangulation. Interpretation of temporal sequence required correlation with other forensic data, such as location findings and potential witness statements. Under oath, an expert would confirm the presence of consistent mechanical asphyxia indicators, but note limitations in definitive causation without corroborative context. Chapter Resolution. The final determination in this case is that the deceased died as a result of manual strangulation. Upon thorough examination, ligature marks were initially observed on the neck, leading to an initial hypothesis involving the use of an external object such as rope or wire. However, microscopic analysis and histological studies revealed characteristic petechial hemorrhages and ecchymoses consistent with digital pressure, rather than a foreign instrument. The distribution and pattern of bruising and erythema were indicative of manual strangulation, confirming that fingers, not a ligature, caused the marks. This revision from an initial hypothesis to a definitive conclusion was necessitated by detailed examination techniques, including macroscopic and microscopic assessments, as well as comparative forensic literature on human-induced strangulation. The central finding established through this process provides clear evidence supporting the cause of death due to manual strangulation, thereby closing the investigative loop with conclusive forensic pathology findings. This case underscores the critical importance of meticulous documentation and analysis of ligature marks in determining the cause and manner of death due to asphyxia. Detailed photography, precise measurements, and histopathological examination are essential for accurate forensic conclusions. The file remains open,